Hi all. I hope you guys have written today's answer. And our topic for today was ethics. Because we are dealing with 10 marker, our session will be fairly small. So, what are you supposed to do? When you wrote the answer, please get it reviewed on Collector Babu's platform. Also, after getting it reviewed, work on the mistakes that are being pointed out, and after that, watch the video when it is uploaded. In case you have not attempted the questions yet, please pause the video, attempt the questions, and then get it reviewed and then watch the video. So, let me share my screen where I'll be dealing with some of the important questions that I took for today's ethics. And one question is particularly on how to approach quotation based questions. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, which is this. So learn everything that is good from others, but bring in it, and in your own way, bring it in and bring your own way, absorb it. Do not become others, Swami Vivekanand. So, this is the quotation. Learn everything that is good from others, but bring it in and in your own way absorb it. Okay. So, what are you supposed to do? Learn the good things from other, take the good ideas, but absorb it in your own way. Do not become a copycat. Okay. Right? And this was told by Swami Vivekanand. So, we will try to approach this question in one way or the other. Let us follow the approach. Okay. Firstly, we can talk about how Swami Vivekanand underscored the importance of education and learning in a way that we are inspired from best of the world, but at the same time we do not forget our cultural roots and everything. Okay, we do not lose ourselves like a composite mix of Western materialism and Eastern spiritualism. Okay, like that, or actually also encapsulated Vivekananda's idea. Then you can dissect this quote by writing pathways to learn from good and retain your uniqueness. Okay, then you'll talk about learning through contextual adaptation. You can give example of Indian democracy, how we adapted and how we were inspired from a lot of the Western ideas like liberty, equality, fraternity, of parliamentary form of government, of rights, fundamental right, everything. A lot of it was inspired, but at the same time, we did not blindly copy it. We followed our own unique approach. For example, if we talk about, if we take one aspect of secularism, Indian secularism is very much different and unique from the other forms of secularism found elsewhere. Okay, so we adapted to our own unique circumstances. Okay, and we absorbed it to bring out the best in us. We did not copy and became others. Okay, then you can talk about cultivating intellectual humility, like how Gandhiji drew upon Tolstoy's idea. Okay, we'll talk about avoiding blind imitation, like rapid urbanization or this overconsumption culture, which has led to toxification, this which is often called west toxification. What is it? It is just blind copycat. We are losing our own culture. Okay, we are losing family values or protection of environment, etc., in the pure disguise of west toxification. Then, so here use the term west plus toxification, okay, west toxification. And then you'll talk about how we can transform the external knowledge through personal interpretation. Okay, external knowledge through personal interpretation and through better contextual understanding. So after this, after we have discussed what was the crux of the quote, we can just conclude by saying, okay, over reliance on external ideas may risk eroding our own cultural identity. as seen as homogenized globalization trends. So there's a need of embracing others' strength while staying true to oneself to build a robust ethical society. And what else can you do? You can give a lot of examples from various fields, from politics, like Gandhiji's idea, how you can say that Gokhale was considered the mentor of Gandhiji. Okay, you can talk about various other, like Siya Das was considered as the mentor of Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, you can talk about certain other aspects, like how role model could inspire people. For example, how Malala Yousafzai could inspire other girls. But the people who are getting inspired, they have to become one true self of their own and not copy others. Okay, so let's go on to the second question. Again, this was this year's question, and 2024's question. It was fairly lengthy, so even though you have to write it in only 150 words, but the question itself is pretty, lengthy. So we have to break it down and actually write what is asked and not beat around the bush, because we have very limited word limit. Okay, so global warming and climate change are outcomes of human greed in the name of development. Okay, indicating the direction in which extinction of organism, including human being, is heading towards loss of life on earth. How do you put an end to this and protect life and bring equilibrium between society and environment? So it's a fairly big question. What can you do if you still have time? And because ethics had historically been, at least for the last 2 to 3 years, a very lengthy paper. So even though first you need is to try to understand the question and answer what is asked. Like here, this is the most important question. How do you put an end to this to protect life and bring an equilibrium? So we'll talk about holistic strategies. Okay, this you have to write at any cost. Also, after giving a small introduction, you can write in a very short form. You can actually discuss this, like how climate change is the outcome of human greed. Okay, you can just make a hub and spoke, and you can just in the hub you can write climate change is the outcome of human greed. Then you can make spokes and write 2 or 4 points, like how climate change is a result of excessive materialism, over consumption, or profit seeking. You can give certain bad examples like Volkswagen Dieselgate, etc., etc. Okay, so address that. So in a brief introduction, you can say human activities that are driven by human greed in the guise of development has exacerbated global warming and climate change. What is said in the question? Okay, this has led to destruction of ecosystem and threatens the survival of species, including humans. After that, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to write holistic strategies for environmental equilibrium. Then you will talk about promoting sustainable development practices. How Bhutan talks about gross national happiness. Also, it has levied sustainable development tax. Okay, so to balance development as well as environment. Then you will talk about global cooperation, for example, loss and damage fund, Paris Agreement, etc. Fostering environmental ethics in student, for example, Chipko movement. Okay, and then you will talk about all the green movement, typically driven to conserve environment for its own sake. We'll talk about environmental negligence, penalizing for it, NGT, for you can give example of art of life case, etc. Then celebrating indigenous knowledge and integrating it in the modern scientific approach. These are some of the ways. Okay, and then so after that you can just conclude integrating sustainability into the development, fostering ethics, and enforcing accountability. See, there are few words which will be very important in both GS2 governance section and even in social justice and GS4 ethics section, which are the good governance buzzwords like accountability, transparency, integrity, equality, justice, etc. Okay, so you have to keep on using it. Or you'll talk about reformative justice, redistributive justice. Okay, you will have to use these words and give some unique example. For example, in this case, you can give a unique example how There's one NGO in Fazilka district of Punjab which has made Uber-like app-based e-rickshaw services and cycle rickshaw services, where the number of two-wheelers and four-wheelers are far lesser than e-rickshaws and cycle rickshaw, and people actually prefer those. Okay, you can give some example. You will find other unique examples. Okay, so try to give those examples. After that, there's this other question which again delves in the GS2 realm, but if it is part of ethics, then you'll have to keep on using the buzzword of reformative justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, impartiality, all those buzzwords, accountability, and all. Okay, so the question is, the soul of new law, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, is justice, equality, and impartiality based on Indian culture and ethos. Okay, discuss in the light of major shift from a doctrine of punishment to justice in the present judicial system, and as has been envisaged by Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. What will you do here? You will do Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023 aims to replace Indian Penal Code, marking a significant shift in India's criminal justice system, rooted in Indian cultural values of justice, equality, impartiality, and fairness, rehabilitation, restorative justice over punitive measures, right? And what else will you do? You will talk about how BNS imbibes the principle of justice, equality, impartiality. BNS encourages mediation, conciliation. See, what you're supposed to do in this is use the buzzword, but at the same time, you need to know what are the major principles, what are the major uh, facets involved in BNS. Without that, you cannot talk. You need to know there's increased emphasis on mediation, conciliation. You need to know that there is increased emphasis on plea bargaining. Okay, and also some of the minor offenses has been done away with. Okay, and also talking about um, reforming. For example, you'll talk about BNS decriminalizing adultery, which was in line with Supreme Court's guideline. So it was based toward, equality across gender, right-based justice. Okay. Then you will talk about shift from punishment to a justice-oriented judicial system. So BNS introduced reformative approach for minor offenses like defamation and focusing on rehabilitation over imprisonment to encourage social integration. Okay, talking about rehabilitation and doing some for petty offenses, doing some social work, as has been the concept in West. Okay, through restorative justice, we'll talk about plea bargaining, as I have already talked about. See, after that, you can say that what else can you add in this answer? You can add some of the criticism of BNS, like the punishment has still been harsh, sedition has been revived in the guise of other name. Okay, what else can you write? You can talk about that colonial era provision still remains, but with a different name. Okay, so you can give two or three criticism. Majorly two, because in the question itself we are directed toward praising BNS, so you have to talk about how BNS is in line with Indian cultural ethos. Okay, after that you can just conclude like BNS embodies a progressive judicial approach emphasizing justice and punishment over punishment, grounded in Indian values. It aligns with modern needs of fairness and societal harmony. Okay, so that's all for today. And hopefully, you guys had a blast while answering the ethics question. And take care. Bye bye.